Okay, my name is Rita Mendoza. I am the minute clerk for Judge D'Souza. Before I came to Judge D'Souza, I was the supervisor in the clerk's office. I used to work for Dale Atkins. I did that for 14 and a half years, and I've been working with Judge D'Souza for 6 years since 2012. My work background here, I enter all the court dates. I assist the litigants when they come in here by giving them court dates. I true copy documents. I answer the telephone. In the clerk's office, basically, I was a supervisor for the domestic department, and I had 3 people working underneath me, which I assisted everyone at the front counter, and if the employee needed help or assistance with anything they didn't understand, that was my position to help them clarify whatever needed to be done. And that's it.
So can you tell me about a few experience where you feel that you really assisted someone with a domestic matter, or because since we're dealing with domestic abuse cases or with stalking, or can you give us a little brief overview of how they're filed? And
Okay, with the domestic restraining orders are filed, they're given the forms by a domestic coordinator or maybe the clerk's office. The form is filled out, and the individual asks for relief as far as for if they want a house or if want custody of the child. They may even ask for belongings like clothes, items. They may ask that they can't shut off that utilities, stuff like that. So once they come here, we have to the law clerks overlook the actual petition to see if they qualify for the relief that they have requested. If they have not, if they don't qualify, then they're given a court date within 10 days. And if they do qualify, they're given a court date within 21 days. They're given a court date, judge signs it, they go back to the clerk's office, get their copies, and then they are forwarded to the sheriff department so they can go ahead and effectuate service on the defendant. And that's it.
So once they're served or not served, where do you go from there?
Well, if they are served to notify of the court date to come to court to, defend themselves on the allegations that the person have accused them of. And if they're not served, then the plaintiff comes back and get a court date that is set within 15 days or could be spread out based on for good cause.
Right, so 15 days, is that a requirement?
It's a requirement after the initial 21 days for reset.
Right, so that's a requirement. That's a law, right? Because of domestic matters.
That's correct.
Okay. Let me go back. So do you have any experiences where you feel like you really assisted someone that you can share? You can think on it.
Well, I assisted a young man one time where he was coming to court for custody of his kids, and he figured there wasn't no way out. And I just basically spoke to him, I told him my story, what I went through, and he kept pushing for. I kept encouraging him to keep, pursuing his court date or.
To get in court until you can get that judge.
I kept encouraging him not to give up, because he cried in front of me. And one thing I don't like to see is a man cry. It hurts my heart.
Doesn't it?
So he kept pursuing it, and eventually he got what he wants. And he came and he thanked me. In fact, he sent me 2 dozen roses.
Oh, that is sweet.
So let me see how much he appreciated my words of encouragement, and encourage him not to give up on his kids. So
that's nice.
Yes.
So what do you think are the most common types of domestic matters filed, or what do you see that are? Well, you got divorce, custody, restraining orders.
I see a lot of all of it. I see a lot of divorces. I see a lot of custody. We see a lot of restraining orders. We see a lot of stalking orders. I mean, it's a lot. This docket, it's very heavy.
Is there abuse involved in a lot of those stalking and domestic abuse restraining orders?
A lot of those cases, to me, based on what I've seen come across my desk, the protective order is not granted.
Right.
And the stalking, a lot of it is not granted because it doesn't need to be here because those cases belong in criminal court, as a matter of fact.
Right.
But very few have been granted as far as what it's talking about. The majority of those cases really doesn't belong here because some of those cases are vicious.
Yeah.
People have guns and they're fighting in the streets.
So you're saying that if it's more of an assault situation, it should go to
that's
criminal
correct
court.
Because we're not equipped for that. I mean, my judge is a civil judge, and I mean, some of these people are actual real criminals.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I don't want her to risk her life going out there next to her and waiting out there for her, and she have no one walking into her car to assist her when she leaves us. I mean, I really think those cases belongs in criminal court.
Yeah, because you have, with civil court, there's still that window of time that something bad can happen.
That's correct.
All right, so let's see. What are some of the problems you experience in the courthouse, and where do you think the process of filing a domestic matter fails?
Well, that's a tough question because
maybe in terms of efficiency and.
Well, I mean, before the coordinator left, we really didn't have that much problems with the petitions when they're filed.
Mm-hmm.
But now, since we don't have a domestic abuse coordinator temporary, we don't have one. Then a lot of times when the parties come down here to get their coordinator assigned to them, is a lot of things are not filled out correctly. Sometimes the order's not checked off. Sometimes it's not signed. So we in turn have to actually show what needs to be done in order to get to the point where it is able to be signed by the judge.
Right.
And that's kind of time consuming for us because we have a lot to do already as is. So that's where we have the problem now. It's not being filled out properly, and we have to show them, which takes away time from our duties down here. So I mean, before when I was upstairs, I used to look over the forms, and if anything wasn't filled out correctly, I used to say, "Look, excuse me, sir, this needs to be done. But it's not being done now because I'm no longer there." So that's.
As far as the courthouse, do you feel like there's a way for the filing process to improve for people experience, more specifically like domestic abuse, like restraining orders?
I think the process that we have now is pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. I mean, the only problem, in fact, we had that problem today is that with a husband and wife who came in here today and they were filing a restraining order out against her nephew.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that would have been able to go on the same petition because it is husband and wife, the same allegations. Only thing they would have done differently in that petition is have two orders instead of one, where they both have protection for themselves.
Right.
But the same petition could have been filled out on the front where both names could have been stayed on there along against the defendant, but it have two separate orders. That way, when it goes to the LPR, both of them would be protected underneath that.
Like an extra one attached.
That's correct. That's correct.
Right. Now, going up a little bit to more of on a broader scale, the justice system. Do you feel that the justice system fails people with domestic abuse matters? Do you feel like
I think the police doesn't take these matters serious.
Yeah.
Because based on what I've seen, people call for help and sometimes they never show up, maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
But once they hear somebody's dead, they run. Everybody's just seeing 4 or 5 people sitting around. But they need to take these matters more serious because there are some people who actually have legitimate cases where they are being abused. And I really think they need to take the matter more serious.
Right. And I think they think a lot of people have a good reason for coming forth with these cases, and then you see that, some people come for, pettier reasons,
That's
for
correct.
lack of a better word.
That's correct.
And then I think that's what really, affects police officers too. But, there's that issue where LPOR, you have to get your order registered with the court.
That's correct.
But if it's not registered and somehow missed, there was a miscommunication between the clerk's office and them. If the police look online and don't see it, and the person provides a copy of it, a true copy, the police won't honor it.
That's correct.
Now, why do you think that is? But it seems like it's an accident waiting to happen, or there'll be legal action brought against them.
First of all, I don't think that should happen because, I mean, when the individual leave here, they leave here with a true copy,
Mm-hmm.
and the copy is sealed by the court. So, I mean,
Right.
as long as you see that seal on there and the clerk signs it and verifying that this is a true copy, and you know for a fact that the judge signed it,
Mhm.
I think they should honor it.
Right.
You know, so
I agree.
you know.
But it becomes, it just seems like
And
it's
I think maybe that's a way of them getting out of actually dealing
dealing
with
with
it.
the work, right?
Right. So that's a easy way out for them.
Yeah, and that seems to be a problem. I'm sure that is across the board, maybe not
Yes.
just here in New Orleans.
Because a lot of times, you know, when they go out there and they in the middle of an altercation between parties, they'll tell me, oh, it's a civil court matter because they don't want to do the report.
Right.
And they send everybody here. But really and truly, some of these matters are very serious and they should take it serious.
Mm-hmm. What do you define as serious? Like when it wavers into abuse or threats?
Threats.
When should it be transferred over to a criminal court?
When the physical part comes in, it should be transferred to a criminal matter. But if you threaten me, well, I threaten people. Sometimes people go through with their threats, but once you come down to the physical part of it, that should be criminal. But verbally threatening someone, that should be here.
Right. Okay. So, from that, do you think is there a way for the state and the federal, court system to improve? Like, as far as is there a way for the justice system to improve on a federal and state level? From city to city,
Well,
and maybe dealing with a little bit more care and attention, probably.
What I think needs to happen is they need to get together with the training. Training is important.
Yeah.
I think the police department needs to have some kind of training as far as for what to look for to recognize to see if this person have a legitimate case or not or issue. They need to know when to take these matters serious and when not to take the matters serious. A lot of times, the police officers don't really go to these trainings, so they don't really know what the details are with the restraining. But I think the law enforcement need to be trained across the board.
Right. To deal with these kind of problems
That's
rather
correct.
than hands-on violence.
That's correct.
All right. So, off topic, but do you think there's other ways besides going through the judicial system that can help a person dealing with domestic abuse to seek out justice? Like other remedies besides, going through the court system? Maybe I know they have like mediators and stuff. And but is that available to everyone?
Mediation would not be something that an individual would be able to do in a domestic relation restraint or issue because remember this is a violent issue, violent relationship. So it's not going to be a good idea for both parties to be with a mediator, trying to mediate the issues of her being abused by this individual or him being abused by her because it could turn out to be bad. So I would not recommend mediation. What I would recommend is that they may want to go to a shelter or maybe even go to Project Save. They have people there that can assist them with different things they may need.